Hello, I am Annick de Houwer. I am the president of the International Association for the Study of Child Language currently. And in this year, 2024, we are celebrating our 50th anniversary. And very much intertwined with our association is the Journal of Child Language, which was the first journal to offer a structured scholarly identity for child language researchers. And this phrase I took from the first editorial to the journal that came out in May 1974. So that's also about 50 years ago, calls for a celebration. So I'm really very happy and honored to have here with me Professor David Crystal, the founding editor of the Journal of Child Language. So, Dr. Crystal, how did you become the founding editor of this journal?
Gosh, Anik, 50 years. It seems like an eye blink, really. But yes, it was indeed 50 years ago at the meeting in Florence, where I turned up as one of the young, those days, young members of the association, not expecting there to be anything like this emerging at all. But as the conference proceeded and people realized there was such an increasing amount of research being done around the world in all aspects of child language, and there was no outlet, no easy way of getting it out. Send an article into Journal of Linguistics or something, it might or might not get published, you know. And so Charles Ferguson, Fergie, at one point in the meeting said, we need a journal. And everybody agreed, and everybody agreed. And then they said, now, who can edit it? And everybody looked around like this, and nobody was quite sure. And then I suddenly realized that an awful lot of people were looking at me. And the reason is, you see, that I'd been associated with sub-editing on the Journal of Linguistics previously. So I knew something about journals. And I also knew that Cambridge University Press was a publisher that was also interested in developing journals. Now, I'd done a couple of books for Cambridge at that time, so I knew the people there. And it suddenly appeared that I was the obvious person to make an initial contact, which I was very happy to do, not thinking for one moment that I'd end up being editor of it. I thought I was just a link person, you see. But no, as it turned out, Cambridge were delighted. They wanted more journals in their stable. And the association was very happy for me to take, suddenly, it seems, the reins of this new enterprise. So that's how it started. I didn't want to do it by myself, couldn't do it by myself. So the first thing was to get a whole group of people behind me, you know, the typical editorial board that journals have all these days. And with the help of them, it was certainly possible, especially my colleagues at Reading, Paul Fletcher and Michael Garman. You know, there were, as it were, three of us there helping to get this journal off the ground. So the load wasn't as onerous as I had half expected it to be. So off it went, and it proved to be extremely successful. Within a few months, we were getting lots of papers in. People were very happy to do reviews and all of that. It looked like the omens were set very fair for a very successful journal. And 50 years on, that's what it's proved to be.
Yes, it's certainly going strong now with two new editors-in-chief, Emma Blum and Melanie Soderstrom. So,
Yeah.
and you were editor-in-chief for 12 years. So what would you say is your best memory of those years?
Oh, the diversity, without a question, any shadow of doubt, the diversity of the papers that came in, and especially on languages other than English, you see. So much of the field at that time was just English, English, English all the time, you know. And it was just lovely to see people coming in from all sorts of backgrounds and producing contributions on their individual language. It helped give a sense to this notion of universals of language acquisition, whatever they are. You know, one needs data, and the data started to come in. And then the other thing I remember very well was the willingness of people to enter into discussion about these matters. You know, not just in reviews, but in little. Let's have a talk about this. Not just the formal papers, but discussion things as well. And that was one of the most exciting things, including, I'm now remembering, a huge confrontation with Roger Brown over whether MLU, mean length of utterance, was useful or not.
Okay.
That's one of my memories that will stay with me forever. But you know, all of that, an exciting time. Any new journal is an exciting time. And the support of the individuals from around the world was part of that. And that's one of the things that we need to maintain now, isn't it, really, Eric, with the new editors and the new remit and your association going off in new directions, online as well as offline, then hopefully a whole new generation of researchers will be attracted, not just to join the association, but also to contribute papers and discussion items and reviews and so on, and keep that flag flying.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for these good wishes. And I really do indeed hope that our field and the journal will flourish for at least another 50 years and beyond. Thank you so much.
Beyond, without a shadow of a doubt.
Without a shadow of a doubt. Thank you so much for this chat and for taking the time to be with us for this moment. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure. Congratulations to you all for what you've done so far. And I hope you have the best of conferences in Prague.